Hello everybody, welcome to Moorhead Elementary School. I'm very excited to have us here on this glorious Monday morning, the 28th day of the year 2021 for the Carter County Special Call Meeting for the Board of Education. We will now move forward with the pledge and the invocation, and Mr. Travis Day is going to be doing that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's bow your heads. Lord, please let us make decisions today that are in the best interests of our students and our community as a whole. Thank you.
Very good, Travis. All right, moving right along, we will now need a consideration for approval of the meeting agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to amend the consent agenda to remove item 3.9, consider Chromebooks from Trafera, and also under 4.1, the receipt policy revisions for first read. I'd like to add for the policy 1510 to take a look at removing the temporary requirements to prevent the COVID-19 spread.
Okay, we have a motion to alter the consent agenda and to add a policy to look at, or a motion to look at policy 1510. Do I have a first or second?
I'll second that.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Very good. So, Dr. Jackson, so our consent agenda and our meeting agenda, do I have to redo the meeting agenda? Or did we just?
I think we're good.
Okay, so we're good.
Thank you.
So now we will now receive policy for first read from Mr. Blair Probst.
I don't know if I'm supposed to stand or if I can sit.
All right, you sit right there.
All right, sounds good. So I'll be extremely brief. I'm sorry. I'll be extremely brief. 2,300 board meetings. Within that policy, there is a portion that is in regard to the way the board interacts with the parent advisory boards. There's been a long conversation about that for years, about changing that process. I think Dr. Jackson has brought to you a proposal about how to change that process, and so that is just merely reflected in the policy before you for first read. If you have any questions, then I have to answer.
Thank y'all for doing that work. I'm excited about that. Any other questions or thoughts on this? Very good. Good job, Blair.
Thank you.
Now we will move along to Ms. Carswell and
hey, Mr. Chairman, actually, also we were going, I would like to look at policy code 1510. From what I understand, that there was wording added to that policy with regards to COVID-19, and there's a portion of wording in there that I would like to consider us removing, and that was the temporary requirements to prevent the COVID-19 spread. And do I need to read out the entire paragraph there, the wording?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I might, I think that the number one, I do think it would be appropriate to read out what you want to change, Mr. Day. But then the question will be whether the board will want to make the change today, which would require waiving your policy because you twice read policies, or whether you want to bring it back up at the August meeting.
And do you have any recommendations, Neil?
When does school open? The end of August, near the 25th. I think look at this as a first read and then bring it back in August.
That sounds good.
But yes, do read what you're proposing.
So temporary requirements to prevent COVID-19 spread. In order to secure the health and safety of school system students and employees during the COVID-19 pandemic, the school system will enforce the requirements of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, DHHS, applicable to individuals entering school grounds and facilities, and will adhere to any requirements placed on the school system by DHHS. The superintendent or designee, in conjunction with appropriate health officials, shall develop protocols where necessary to implement DHHS requirements. These temporary requirements shall remain in effect until repealed by the board or until the applicable guidance from the DHHS is rescinded, whichever occurs first.
Everybody get that? So as a first read now, what does this do for us? Basically nothing?
Well, as first read, it changes nothing.
Right.
Then the board comes back and sees where we are in August. And Professor, your proposal is to remove that entire paragraph.
Correct.
Okay, well, we'll come back in August and see where we are and then see what the will of the board is.
Thank you.
Do I have any thoughts or questions or comments on this?
And I guess we have a little while, quite a little while before second reading. So this isn't anything we have to make a decision on right this second.
About 5 or 6, you probably have 6 weeks or close to it.
But I think we need to give parents guidance the 1st of August, as far as masks, what we're planning to do with or without the governor's position.
I do not disagree. That's, which I think is why we're taking this first
Yes, there are a
step.
whole lot of parents that are wondering what is going on, what is gonna happen, what is happening, what do we, and so, anyway. But I think that would also be wise to do.
I don't think we can do it on the 11th hour.
No.
So,
All right, are there any more questions, thoughts, or comments? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'd like to see mask optional in Carteret County. How about that?
And we appreciate that.
So I'm going on record as saying that.
Oh, and I'm
Mask
going on record,
optional.
I'm going on record as agreeing, concurring with you.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Day. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Chadwick has seconded this. All in favor, raise your right hand. Very good. Moving right along, now we've got Ms. Cardwell, who gets to come talk to us about our budgets.
Good morning. This is the final budget provision for fiscal year 2021. And it's rather lengthy, but this is one where we are truing all the different accounts up. So on the very first page, a rather lengthy journal entry, but it's to appropriate the funds for the state guaranteed allotments. We have 3 different state guaranteed allotments. One being the non-contributory employee benefits that we have, and that's where we pay for annual leave, longevity for those who still receive it. We pay for state bonuses. So those were guaranteed no matter how much it was going to cost. The state pays that. So we typically wait until the end of the year until we know for sure how much we're going to pay out before we budget that. So that's why this is, a rather lengthy budget entry. The next one is transfer funds to appropriate accounts to prevent a budgetary violation. At the end of the year, and we're balancing out the state, for example, the state exceptional children's budget. Well, because of COVID, they did not use all of their contract nurse because a lot of the students did not come. So they had extra funding. So if you'll see there, you'll see a $200,000 debit to the EC classroom teacher pay. So that we move that up, the teachers, and we move teachers out of their Medicaid money into EC because the Medicaid money carries over. So that's the biggest one here. The other one is $100,000 for PPE supplies. And when we budgeted the PPE supplies that we received from the state CARES Act fund, we spent a bigger portion out of 6540, which is custodial supplies, for the cleaning. So we had to transfer in 100,000 to that, but we transferred it out of the same the same pot of money. But those are the two biggest ones in that area. The next one is appropriate funds received from the state subsequent to last month's board meeting. We received technology, the funds, the interest for the fines and forfeiture funds, and then we received money for iPad in the read to achieve or early reading. And we received our substitute reimbursement. We did have to send back some funds for EC nurses, and that was due to and some students that were in the homeschool. The next entry is a local budget entry, and it is $64,000. It's where we transferred out a teacher's salaries in order to pay for a psychologist's salary. The next is federal, and this very lengthy one is just, it is budgeting our ESSERS 2 in 3 months. The next item in the federal is appropriate funds that we've received in the CARES Act for Project Aware, digital curricula, and learning management. So that is what we're budgeting there. We received those funds again subsequent to our last board meeting. And the next one in federal is transferring funds to appropriate accounts to prevent, again, a budgetary violation. And the majority of this entry is where, in the stipends where we paid out of ESSER 2, we need to budget it in the purpose code that we paid it out of. So that's what the majority of this one is. And in capital, we appropriated bond projects that have already been approved by the county. This again is to prevent a budgetary violation, since we've already done the purchase order, since we've already paid some of this out. And the final one in the capital is appropriating the state bus lease program. And it's a total budget amendment of $25,065,068.77. Any questions? I know you have not seen this budget amendment. That's because it was hot off the press from Friday.
Any questions, thoughts, comments from Ms. Cardwell? Great job. So we've got we need to consider an approval for the 2020-21 final budget request. Do I have a motion?
So moved, we accept this budget revision as presented.
Reverend Goodwin has made a motion. Do I have a second? Ms. Statler has made a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Fantastic. Unanimous. Great job, Ms. Cardwell. And you're still on deck. So you get to go again.
I'm trying to get my board docs up, sorry. I had it up and then it went out on me. The next one is to adopt the continuing budget resolution. This is in accordance with the General Statute 115C-434 until a budget resolution can be established. That typically is established once we have a budget from the state. But this gives us the opportunity to continue business as we have continued business as we did this prior year. And that's
it.
the request.
Anybody have any questions or thoughts on continuing the budget until we, just listening to Ms. Carswell? Everybody good? All right, I will need a motion to consider adoption of continuing the budget for 2021-2022.
I move to adopt an interim budget in accordance with General Statute 115C-434 until a budget resolution can be enacted by the Board of Education.
Great job. Motion by Reverend Goodwin. Any seconds?
Second?
Ms. Chadwick has made a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Very good. Good job, Ms. Cardwell. Thank you so much. And with that said, I guess we will now move into Superintendent.
Board members, we've had a phenomenal year. I'll just say, extremely proud. We've had a wonderful start to our summer learning program. We're looking forward to hosting the state superintendent who's bringing her team to visit our summer learning program, and business continues. I'm very proud of the work of our staff. Thank you, sir.
Very good, thank you. Any board members have any thoughts, questions, or comments? All right, I guess I'm the last. I would like to, since Cheryl's here, hopefully she'll put this in the paper. But, you know, I guess it was last week or 2 weeks ago, the commissioners got together and we recommended a supplement increase for our teachers that our staff has been working on for years. And we presented it to the commissioners. And not only did they accept it, but they increased it, which is huge. You know, in my opinion, you know, any increase is 1,000% worth it, but you know, for the teachers in our county, which I obviously love because I talk about it all the time, but for them to step up and recognize what they have done this year, it just warms my heart. And we are blessed to have government entity that will work so well with us and with the staff to make things like this happen. So I just want to give a shout out to our commissioners today. That's huge. And now maybe the state will step up, and you can put that in the paper too. So, with that said, y'all enjoy the rest of your summer, and I guess we will see you in August. I need a motion to take this meeting out of.
I will make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Whitley has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Statler has seconded it. All in favor, raise your right hand. Wonderful, we're done.
Thank you.